Hi, kindergarten friends. I have a new friend for you to meet today. His name is Pete the Cat. We're going to read a lot of Pete the Cat books in kindergarten because he is one cool, groovy cat. Today we're going to read Pete the Cat Checks Out the Library. You know what? The words in this book are kind of small, so I need to put on my reading glasses. All right, let's see. Pete the Cat Checks Out the Library. Quiet, please. We always want to be quiet in the library. Pete's mom is taking him to the library for the first time. The librarian gives Pete his very own library card. Cool, says Pete. The librarian smiles. Time for the tour. The librarian takes Pete through the library. There is a big desk where people wait to check out books. Pete sees some of his friends reading at a long table. It is very peaceful and quiet. How relaxing. The librarian takes Pete to her favorite room. There are lots of Pete-sized chairs and tables and shelves. There are books of every size, shape, and color. What do I do now? Pete asks. You read a book, the librarian says. Which book should I read? Asks Pete. You can read any book you like, says the librarian. Pete looks around. There are so many books. Pete picks up a book about airplanes and jets. He reads it and pretends he is a stunt pilot. He flies a super fast jet and does loop-the-loops and spirals high in the sky. Look, he's upside down. Then Pete finds a book with dragons, wizards, and unicorns on the cover. He reads it and imagines that he is a powerful wizard using magic spells and a special wand to defend his castle against a fire-breathing dragon. Next, Pete opens up a book about spiders and insects. He reads it and imagines that he is a scientist studying all types of critters in the wild. He has to be very still to study some critters and very fast to study others. Then Pete chooses a book with all sorts of scary monsters on the cover. It is a book of fairy tales. Pete reads it and pretends that he is in a dark, spooky forest, trying to outsmart the big bad wolf. Pete puts that book back on the shelf. It is too scary. Pete opens up a book about the pyramids in Egypt. He reads it and pretends that he is an explorer riding a camel across the desert and climbing to the top of a giant pyramid. Next, Pete picks up a book with all sorts of robots on the cover. He reads it and imagines that he is a robot at a robot dance party. His arms and legs make whizzing sounds when he moves. When Robot Pete speaks, he says, bleep, bloop, blop, bleep. Next, Pete picks up a book about superheroes. He reads it and makes believe he is a superhero. He flies around the city in a colorful cape, chasing bad guys and saving the day. Then Pete spots a big book about the ocean and all its creatures. He reads it and imagines that he is a scientist in a submarine deep in the Atlantic Ocean looking for whales, squids, and sharks. There are so many wonderful books to read at the library. Pete can be whatever he imagines with a book. Reading is super groovy. Have you ever been to the library? Well, guess what? We have a library right here at Bonnie Brennan. Would you like to see it? Well, first, let's put on our mask. Okay, are you ready? Let's go! So here it is. This is our Bonnie Brennan Library. Let's see who we find. Oh, look, it's Mrs. Hatch. She's our librarian, and she will help you find the books you want to read.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Bonnie Brennan Library. It's so good to have you here. I can't wait until you can come in person. Come and look at all the books that we have in our library. You can see all the shelves full of books in our library, and some are just right for kindergartners. Before I show you them, you're probably wondering about these boxes. These are for the bigger kids to put their books in when they're ready to read and they come back in the building. That's why these are here. If you follow me over here, these books on these shelves are just right for kindergarten students. The big red sign up here says easy. You can see the E for easy. We'll talk about that later. When you're in the library, we learn about call numbers and all the parts of the books. But for now, what you need to know is these books are just right for kindergartners. All sorts of books like Pete the Cat. Do you know about Pete the Cat? Some of the other favorites. Duck for President. And when you come to the library, you'll come over to this part over here. Follow me. You can see these fun steps. This is our stadium where kids get to sit on the steps and I can read you a story. And I have some paper up here. It looks like a sky with some grass just for decorations. But this is where we have story time. And I love having the kindergarten classes come for story time. I can't wait until you're back in the building so that we can do that. And maybe I'll come to your classroom to do story time initially. But I look forward to seeing you. Hope you're doing great. Bye.
Everybody thank Mrs. Hatch for showing us her library. Hope we see you soon.